Hello, everybody. Welcome to this short instructional and introductory video for all the patrons of Hauppauge Public Library. We are just going to introduce you to the Infobase Learning Cloud, which is a relatively new, although you may have seen it before as its previous iteration. Who knew it? It's a relatively new technology training and personal development platform that is available to you, unrestricted and unlimited usage for any patron of Hauppauge Public Library. If you are familiar with this from its previous version, as Who Knew It, a lot of this will look very familiar to you. But if this is new to you, we just want to walk you through not only how to sign up for it and the step-by-step of how to actually use it as a patron of Hauppauge, but also just do a brief run through to show you not only how it works, but what it can offer for you. If this is the first time that you've heard of it, just very briefly, the Infobase Learning Cloud is exactly that. It is meant to be a learning and training utility that focuses on both very in-depth and fairly wide-ranging technology training. So things as simple as learning how to use the computer or learning how to use basic programs like Word and Zoom and a few other things, all the way up to very advanced concepts like graphic design and coding and things like that. In addition to that, it's also focusing on personal development, things like soft skills, college and career skills, time management, communication. There are a fairly large number of useful and helpful things, not just for, hey, I've always wanted to learn that, but things that are directly related to you, your career, where you're standing, if you want to move to a different one or simply improve your position by upskilling where you already are. You can do this. They are self-paced. As I mentioned, they're completely unlimited. And they're organized in a way that makes it easy for you to pick up where you had to leave off. And you do have the ability to simply learn by watching, or if you prefer, you can also take tests, assessments at the end when you complete a particular module or pathway. And when you pass that, you actually get certification that is transferable, that you can pass on, that you can put on a resume, that's very similar to a transcript or a certification that you would get from another organization or even a local community college or even a four-year college. So it's completely free for you to use. It's self-paced, and it covers a very wide breadth of both technology applications and personal career development topics that a lot of public library patrons find helpful and useful. So that out of the way, what I'd like to do is just go ahead and switch over and walk you through exactly how to use this as a patron of Hauppauge Library, and then we'll get a little bit more in detail on the product itself. If we just switch over here to the main page. This is the Hauppauge Public Library. You're probably familiar with this website if you're a patron already. In order to get to the link that takes you to the Infobase Learning Cloud, we just go to Research and Homework and come down to Online Learning here. And the very first thing that you'll see is the online learning section on the Infobase Learning Cloud. You'll see here that there's a link, log into Infobase. And here we are. So if you're already a registered user, either from before with Who Knew It, or if you've already done this and created an account and know this part of it, you would simply either click here to sign in, or we give you a secondary button if you wanted to do that. Both of those will allow you to use the username and password that you've already set up and get right in there. Highly recommend, if you do that, just save that in your browser so that it'll automatically skip over this step. If you're new and you're wanting to create an account, pretty straightforward. Just click on create an account. We do actually, for security reasons, have a unique passcode for you to sign up with. And this generates for you when you open it up. And it's not visible to anybody else who might be snooping or hacking or doing any type of bot. It's just a way to make sure that the users of this are confined to those of you within the Hauppauge Public Library patron community. It's pretty easy. You just enter in your case. In this case, it's actually Harbor 788. And then what you want to do is just register your email and your username, excuse me, your first name and your last name, so that you'll be able to have something that is specific to you. Unlike a lot of resources, you probably won't see the level of personalization and the level of tracking that an individual account like you would have with Infobase Learning Cloud provides on others. So it's important that you do this so that you're actually able to keep track of it. In this case, we're just going to go ahead and use a generic one so that I don't actually have to let everybody see my email. And let's just go ahead and enter, we'll put my name in here. And when we go ahead and submit that, it'll take just a moment, and then as you can see here, it'll ask you to confirm your account. As we wait for that to pop up, I'm going to do that off screen so that you don't actually have to see that. There is a link here that lets you know that you've actually confirmed the account, and it'll ask you to choose a password, which I'm doing now, again off screen. A lot of latitude in what type of a password you would like. And it will pop up and actually show you. Let me just move this in here really quickly. It will actually show you the resource itself. Now, as you go on, the next time that you come in here, as I said, it's really helpful if you just go ahead and save the username and password to your computer if it's not shared, or on your phone, on your mobile browser, and it'll take you directly here, and you won't have to worry about signing up and remembering passwords every time. But that taken care of, we jump directly into the resource. Now, a couple of different things. Let me see if I can reduce the size a little bit so that you can see what the page looks like. A couple of things that are important for you to know. When we refer to pathways and modules, a module is essentially a single course on a single topic. A pathway is normally a series of incrementally more challenging courses meant to achieve a certain goal. So if you have an essentials class, let's say Microsoft Excel basics, that would be a module. Whereas a pathway might be Office 365 Essentials, or possibly Word 2016 Essentials. That would be multiple courses meant to teach a single application, but they're broken into different modules. There is also the possibility for the library itself to create individual modules that may be relevant to you and may be interesting to you. So it's possible to actually see not just the ones that come with the product that we put together. We actually do allow administrators to build their own if they want to. So don't be surprised if you see something that looks sort of Hauppauge focused and Hauppauge centered. It may be something that's put together specifically for you by the fine folks at the library to get a couple of different things into one easy to use pathway. You'll see at the top that there are some of the more popular pathways, and obviously you can continue to go here. Since this is the first time that I've actually signed up and moved into this particular screen as this user, you're not going to see any of my previous work, but you can actually see the recently viewed and then recent assignments or completed modules here. We do let you know what our top modules are here, and if you just click on any of these subjects, it will actually bring up a series of different ones. So as an example, if we click into career skills, it's going to give you the most popular things that are most popular courses or modules that are related directly to career skill enhancement. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of them here. So it's not just what's in this carousel. We do our best to not only make it easy for you to find a specific thing that you're looking for, but also to explore and look at things a little bit more broadly and hopefully learn some things that may not have occurred to you when you initially jumped in here for a specific goal. But as you can see, design, mobile devices, programming, software and technology. Most people know this platform as software and technology, but don't skip over a lot of the, as I said, the softer skills that I think you may find are particularly helpful. Even if you're not planning on making any moves, if you just want to be a little bit better at the office. anyway, so as we run down here, you'll see we also have newly added, and this is a constantly updated list. We do our very best to not only bring out new content, but also to appropriately update the current content. So as we shift from Adobe Premiere Basics, the previous version was in 2019. That's obviously had an update. So you'll see all of it'll be a complete lesson. It's not just what's changed, but when you see the most current date under newly added, this is the most recent version of this. We do occasionally have older versions available if you prefer them, because sometimes the new version doesn't represent everything, all the users out there. So we do actually have them side by side, but if you just go with the most recent one, it's a complete course that goes over everything that is new for the new version, but also covers the basics that you would have gotten on the previous one as well. So why don't we just go ahead and explore a little bit. You can obviously navigate by going through here like this. The other way that you might want to consider moving around a little bit is here we variously call this the menu or the hamburger button. If you click on this, it's going to give you quite a few different options. And if we look here, you can see software and technology. And if you click on this, it's going to give you all of the different modules that are available. You can certainly just do a simple search for one here, and we can do that and pull up Excel Basics. But you can also run through it. Now, you'll also notice that if there is a similar product in the marketplace that we also have training for, if you're asking for help with Excel, learning Excel, everybody probably already knows that Google Sheets is by far the biggest competitor and the most common thing that you might see in lieu of Excel in the business world or in the academic world. So we try and include that as well. So if you happen to be picking something, if you pick one version or one thing that is sort of the market leader or the Kleenex version of it, we do our best to include others if they're available so that you don't actually have to go out and look for them. But if we take a quick look here, because this was a search, you can obviously change the search, whether it's newest, sort A to Z, or backwards. There are related topics here that you can check that will give you a little bit better breakdown. If you have a very large list that you've generated and you want to filter it down, you can use these here on the side. I happen to pick one that's not particularly voluminous. So if we just jump into Excel Basics, it will bring you to the main screen for this particular module. Now, this is a module and not a pathway. If you chose a pathway, you would actually see several different modules within it. And then when you clicked on the individual module, it would take you here. But this is essentially the landing page, and everything that you do is going to be based on learning it. And then if you choose to become certified, proving it. So as you can see here, there is a Learn It tab and a Prove It tab. The Learn It is essentially just that. It is every single one of these individual lessons that are broken down by subject. As you can see, they're relatively short, and they're easy, made to be bite-sized, self-paced. And it's important to note that if you complete viewing a particular lesson or subsegment within this module, and then leave and come back in a week, it knows what you've done. It does remember that, so you don't have to retake it, and allows you to continue building. You can watch these straight through the way that you would if you were learning from A to Z, or if you're just trying to figure out how to do something that you can't quite figure out on your own, you can absolutely run here and just take the individual thing that has to do with, let's say in this case, sorting data, or if you want to set cell ranges. If there's a specific thing that you'd like to do, you can just jump in here and click on that individually. And when you do that, it will bring up the actual video itself. And it works like a standard player. I'm not going to turn it on here because it may blow your ears a little bit. But as you can see here, in addition to having the video itself, you do have a full transcript here. And as you're going down, the transcript will move automatically and let you read it. So if you don't quite catch what somebody said, or if you would like to review it, or if perhaps English isn't your first language and it's going to be a little bit easier for you to follow along the written as well as listening, you'll always have a transcript on every single one of these modules that you'll see. So just an accessibility thing that makes it a little easier for everybody to use it. If we head back out of that, and well, if you go a little bit too far, that's what happens. As we get back in here, you'll see just a standard breakdown. And as you complete more of this, your progress bar will move over. There are also what we refer to as earned hours. These are analogous to the number of hours that you would be receiving if you completed this particular training in an academic environment. And they're not necessarily meant to confer academic credit. They're just to give you an idea, and to whoever is looking at these achievements, the amount of detail and the amount of time and effort it takes to do this. So the reputation of the Infobase Learning Cloud and the certification that we provide for those who know it is quite good. But if you happen to run into somebody who may not be familiar with this, it's helpful to give them an idea of exactly what's involved in what you have been certified in. So as you take a look here, we always let you know what you'll be learning at syllabus, and we do our best to make sure that you see every aspect of this, and you can do it on your own at your own pace. Once you're done, let's assume that you've done all of these. If you move over to the Prove It tab, there are all of the assessments. In far more complex modules and pathways, you'll actually see several of these over here. In this case, you'll just be looking at Excel basics. And if you start the assessment, you'll see something that looks very familiar to any test that you've ever done. Important thing here, if you happen to have a pop-up blocker like I do, you may need to actually choose to allow a pop-up if that happens. But this will allow you to actually take the assessment. There are standards for passing. And once you've done that, it will automatically let you know that you have passed that particular course, and it'll put it as a completion transcript for you. If you fail it, it will give you the opportunity to not only learn what you missed, but also to retake the test. So it is not necessarily meant to be a long drawn out process like taking the bar or getting a medical license. It really is meant to simply let people know that you've completed it and are competent in those particular areas. If you can't quite get it the first time, go back. It will explain why. If you need to study a little more, you always have access to everything that you've taken before to retake again. And if you prefer to just let it fly and go through and take all of them and be done with it, you can do that too. If you pass, you pass, and it will give you a certification. This is essentially how all of the modules work, whether they are something within technology or whether they are any of the other categories. If you look at the full map, you can actually see a lot of things that are very interesting. Just as an example, you can look at online teaching, which is obviously very topical now with a lot of both teachers and obviously their students having to adapt to a new world last year. These are all particularly helpful. We also break things down in student resources and career resources. So career readiness, applying for a job, and soft skills related to it, goal setting, asking essential questions. All of these are put together exactly the same way that you saw with the Excel basics that I was looking at earlier. And they all work the same way. I encourage you as you're going through here, even if you're coming in for one particular thing, let yourself have a moment to explore and run through this. We try and make sure that you can have as many of these open as you would like, by the way. You can have 10 different courses or 15 different courses running simultaneously and flip back and forth depending on what's interesting to you and what you're in the mood to learn. So if you see something that might be interesting, jump into it. And if the description gets your juices flowing, just get in there and take a look at it. If it's not for you, back out of it. If it is, I think you'll discover that a lot of times just organically finding content based on what you came to look at and what was related to it, or what may be a complete surprise to you, it's a really great way of learning what you don't know and learning how much you don't know and being able to solve that in the moment. So obviously, as you run through here and see all of these different options, I found them by looking at the view all categories, but they are broken down. It's important to note, you'll see here that it says staff PD, that's staff professional development. We make that available to everybody. It's frankly more geared toward the actual employees of the library. But there are some really fantastic things in there too if you have aspirations of working within a library, or if you happen to be pursuing a career that's similar to that in academic research or something like that. Really great option, and we make it available for everybody, not just the staff at the particular library. So important that if you're interested in seeing any of that, you're allowed to. You can jump in there and take a look at that. There's some really interesting things in there that are pretty distinct from all the other resources or all the other modules that are available in this resource, and I really recommend that you look at that as well. The last thing that I was going to show you in terms of navigation is heading over to where your name is. Now, obviously, we have a menu over here, but probably the more significant one for proving what you've learned and being able to do that is underneath your name. Now, you'll note that there are pathways, accomplishments, reports, favorites, assignments. It is possible within this for the library to actually issue you an assignment. And if you happen to be a student that is working, whose teacher is working with the library, it's possible for a teacher to actually, from a local school, to actually provide information to the library so that they can actually set up a particular assignment for you. So you may actually see that. A lot of other libraries are beginning to do that. Under assignments, you'll actually see that pop up, and it will be something that you'll be expected to complete. As a standard library patron who's not attached to a school or a member of the library staff, you'll very rarely ever see anything in there, but it's an available option for anybody who at the library who would like to actually assign things to various groups, whether it's related to school, related to staff, or even a subgroup of an interest group like a let's say a technology training meeting that happens at the library on a regular basis. The accomplishments button is probably the one that you're going to spend the most on. And as you can see, you have certificates, you have transcripts, and you have badges. There are certain technology courses here that actually have certification. And if you complete those, you actually will see them here, and they will be under certificates. They are the most fungible, the most transferable, the most readily recognized by companies that may be looking to hire you, or within your own organization as you're looking to upskill and progress in your career there. For everything else, if there is no certification available, we still give you the proof that you took it and that you passed the assessment. So you'll see a pathway transcript that will let you know, hey, they did take social emotional learning, even though there may not be a specific certificate related to it, the same way that you would have one for Adobe Photoshop or one of the more advanced coding programs. We do still let you see that. And again, it's got your name on it. It's professional, and you can print it off if you want to, or you can simply attach it to a resume as a certification, similar to a certification. The last thing are badges, and it's important to note that these have become a lot more popular, especially with programs or applications like LinkedIn. If you are taking a course that does provide a badge, we actually partner with one of the largest education proof sites out there. If you click on this, you'll note that it will actually say that it's through the Acclaim platform, and it will actually give you your email address and allow you to go to Acclaim. It's completely free of charge. It's just a separate service that we contract with, and it's good because it means that all of Acclaim's integrated programs, or all of Acclaim's integrated resources like Salesforce and LinkedIn and Facebook and others, where a badge is important and it might be something that gets you noticed by recruiters or other things like that. Once you actually have that certification, it becomes a badge. You simply let Acclaim know that you have it, and then it will allow you to place that on most commonly your LinkedIn profile or your LinkedIn resume, but you can do it in other places as well. Some professions have different sites and different ways to get that across. But in addition to the old-fashioned paper transcript or paper certification, you not only have the digital one that is linked directly, and you also now have the ability to put badges on. So regardless of how you shout it out, we allow you to shout out and demonstrate that you have indeed taken a course and passed it, or you've been certified by an organization that they'll recognize in a way that they'll be able to recognize and feel comfortable with. So whenever you have an accomplishment, it stays here until you're done. As long as the library is still providing access to the Infobase Learning Cloud. If you did something 3 years ago and it's time to get a new job and you want to make sure that you've still got that, go right back to it. You can download it, you can upload it, you can create a badge out of it. It will always be there and will always be available to you, just like any other type of certification. So this is not something that's just going to go away at the end of the month or the end of the year. If you earn it, we want to make sure that everybody knows that you've earned it, and we essentially keep that for you in perpetuity. So as far as running through what's available and giving you an idea of what this resource can do and how to navigate it, I think we're going to go ahead and close this particular lesson out for the moment. It's important to note that if you have any questions about the platform itself, how to access it, or how to use it, there are a lot of different ways that you can deal with that. I highly suggest that you guys have your own trusted librarians and library staff, and they're going to know what they're doing, and they're going to be able to answer quick questions for you. However, if you prefer, you can always just come down here to the help button, and that will bring up this page that allows you to not only do keyword searching to find out what may be helpful for you to locate something that's important to you, but there are a couple of other options. Just as an example, there's a getting started guide, and there are a few other training resources here that may be helpful either to patrons who are using this or even members of the library staff. If all else fails, we do have a full technical support staff, and if you go to product support and reach out to us, we get back to you very, very quickly. So there are from very technical authentication and connection issues that possibly could come up, all the way down to the best way to use a particular resource. We're available to you at any time on this, and usually 8 to 5 o'clock live and in person if you choose to do the direct outreach to our support teams. And it goes without saying, if for some reason you stump us, we've got somebody that we can reach out to. There's always going to be an answer. We're incredibly proud of what this particular resource has become. It started out fairly humbly for us, and initially was not something that was supposed to be available in the public library market, but we looked at what it had to offer with our K through 12 and our academic businesses, and realized there's a lot here that regular public library patrons would appreciate and would be able to leverage and improve themselves and improve their jobs, and learn a little bit more about things that may have been inaccessible or a little bit challenging to learn when they involved registering for a class and going to a community college for 3 nights a week for a month and a half or 2 months to get it. We try as hard as we can to make sure that this is as easy as possible for you to use. But more important than just the ease of use is the subjects that we include in here are relevant and we believe are very, very in demand and useful, even just for somebody who's curious about technology, all the way up to somebody who's trying to learn how to code better to get that next rung in their career. So I really appreciate you giving us the time. And if you need anything or have any questions, like I said, please feel free to reach out to either us or to anybody on the Hauppauge Library staff. They'll be happy to take care of it for you. And I look forward to seeing how well this works with you, and how well you're going to be able to make it work for your personal improvement. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.